Live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, good morning, and welcome to our Dauphiné preview. I am delighted to be joined by the Belgian champion, Ollie Naesen. Ollie, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. Now, we'll start by looking at the classics, okay? So, this season, 4th in E3, very solid performance. You were 3rd in the bunch sprint behind Terpstra, 6th in Ghent-Wevelgem, going really strong again, rode a very clever race. And then, Dwars-Door-Vlaanderen, the bad luck happens, you hit the big crash, you abandon, you go to Flanders. I remember something similar last year when you started Flanders with, I think it was maybe a sore knee, and then in Flanders again, crash, chase back on, still managed to finish 11th, which was crazy considering the effort you must have gone through to get back on. In those races, did it feel like bad luck was just like, it was just haunting you?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to judge the classic season with everything that happened. I mean, if there was a crash in the bunch, I was always there. If they crashed in front, I was in the front. If they crashed in the back, then I was in the back. If they crashed on the left, I was on the left. And if they crashed on the right, I was on the right. So it was always something like that. I mean, I started the classic season with a broken nose also. These things, they don't help him. I was a bit in a negative spiral this spring season.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back in like a year to come, the results still look quite good. You know, 4th E3, 6th, 11th in Flanders, 12th in Roubaix. So I suppose the legs were good. The frustration would be that you didn't have a chance because of the crashes.
Yeah, the result, they're not a disgrace. They're not what I was hoping for, of course, but it's not a disgrace. So I can be happy is a big word, but I can be happy I still managed to get some results in, considering everything that happens. But I mean, actually in every race, after a crash, I had to do such long chases to get back to the bunch, and actually in those moments, that always cost me the final.
Then
for example, to come back to the bunch, I did my final halfway the race, and in the real final, you're just there, but you don't have anything.
Then you have a little break and you go to Frankfurt and you decide you're turning into a big sprinter these days, so you managed to elbow out some of the big names and finish 3rd, which was, considering your layoff and your kind of time off the bike and then you come back to 3rd, that must have been a confidence boost.
Oh, it was very strange. It was like the universe was mocking me. I mean, in the classics, I start with super strong legs. I mean, my shape was on point. I was where I wanted to be. All my tests were better than last year. Shape was perfect, and I don't get the results I wanted. I don't get my podiums. I don't get anything. And then I go to Frankfurt, straight out of 1 week holiday, where I took on 5 kilos of pizza and spaghetti weight. And then I suffer all day, full gas, and I finished 3rd. It's something unbelievable.
Now, mentioned there, we've seen you all season wearing the Belgian tricolour, the national jersey. You won it last year. I don't want to ask the kind of normal boring questions about it, but every morning, every day you go out training, you pull that jersey on. I mean, what does that feel like? That just away from the races, the kind of day-to-day, so you're cycling in the streets where you live and everybody knows it's you, it's the Belgian champion.
Yeah, everybody knows it, and it's just so much fun to be national champion, especially in a country like Belgium. I mean, as you said, every day I put it on. I pass my mirror and just before going out training, and I know it looks pretty cool, and then you go out and like you say, I always see people looking in their mirrors of their cars, taking photos behind the wheel. It's just so cool, and I hope I can continue doing it for another year, but that's another question.
And it's good that the team allowed you to go proper, full jersey, not this kind of little flag. That's good. I was going to ask it later. We'll ask it now. So the championships this year are in Binche, a kind of a place that most cycling fans will know really well. The route looks pretty tough, but I mean, you've ridden Binchy many times, you know it well. I think you maybe have some hopes of retaining the jersey.
Yeah, I mean the course is better for me than the one last year. The one last year was all flat city parcours, and now it's a bit up and down, not too hard. Some cobbles, again not too hard, not too long. Yeah, it suits me, but you know the problem is a lap that suits me also suits Greg, suits Phil, Steven, Lampard, Van Marke. I mean, I can keep giving you more and more names. It's a typical Belgian classic parcours, so a lot of guys like it.
Yeah, and obviously for AG2R, I think there's only yourself, Jan Bakelans and Stijn Vandenberg.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be a challenge, but last year you showed that it is possible. Now looking towards this chunk of racing for you, so you're now back in probably what we call bodyguard duties, because you've got Romain Bardet, who last season, you know, we think back to the Tour, you think back to you finished third, which was fabulous performance. It was your team who, I think my memory of the Tour is just AG2R on the front, ripping the race to shreds, really putting pressure on Team Sky, kind of not sitting back like the other teams do sometimes. How does it feel? You know, you're in the Tour de France and you guys just seem to love causing fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. Last year, I mean, in the Dauphiné, when I'm comparing myself to the rest of the team, I felt one of the stronger riders on the team. I was always there. I could help the guys, but they weren't at their top yet. And then we come to the Tour de France. Every mountain stage, I was like between 40th and 60th in the end, and I was always last of the team. So that was the beginning of the tour. So it was clear that everybody was on the best shape of their lives. And then sports directors, they decided just to go for it, which was nice. We wanted to do it, but I think a lot of riders and a lot of teams want to try something or attack at some point. But the sports directors often they're like, "Ooh, calm, take it easy. Don't try to make the race too nice, you know." So I was happy we got the liberty, and I was also happy it worked out. Every time we did an attack or we pulled, as you said, the bunch went to shreds. So that was something really cool. It's the biggest race of the year, and if you can pull and see there's only 20 guys left in your reel, it's pretty cool.
How does it feel? Obviously, you go to the classics. You're the leader. You're trying to win. You go to Dauphiné. You go to Tour de France. Your role is totally different. Your role is protect Bardet, help Bardet. I mean, is it almost more enjoyable, the fact that you get to do this job, or is it, you know, how does it feel?
Oh, for me, it's easy. It comes naturally to me. It's something I like as well. I like racing in the mountains and everything, but I cannot do it for my own result. If I would race in the mountains for my own result, it'd be a joke, you know. So I always divide my season in three parts. There's the classic season, which is for me, and the middle half with Dauphiné and Tour de France, which is for the climber guys, for Romain and other riders. And I always try to be as skinny as possible for spring, for summer, to help these guys in the mountains. And then there's the end of the season with Canada, Ineco, the Worlds and everything, where I race for myself again. So this is for me a very nice period because there's no stress, no pressure to perform. I mean, obviously you have to be in top shape, but there's no pressure to get results. And in the meanwhile, I'm preparing myself again for the fall, for the end of the year, to be tipped up again to do some results for myself. So for me, this is a perfect way to divide the season. And I like it a lot.
And we saw last year, I mean, the moment when the race split in the wind and Bardet was quite far down the bunch, and it was as though you just come past them and grabbed them and let's go. Full gas to the front, and then, you know, that sort of moment must be nice as a teammate, especially after the race Bardet was saying, you know, if it wasn't for you, my podium is gone. So moments like that must be very rewarding.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Those are the things you do it for. I mean, last year, if you look up at our Tour de France team, there was 8 climbers and there was me. So I can tell you, before every flat stage or every risky, windy stage, they would come to me and say, "Yeah, today it's you, eh? if today we lose time, then it's your fault. So,
and then this year we've got the cobble stage, the Paris-Roubaix stage, so I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on you that day.
Yeah, but I don't think I'll be alone. You know, we have the second in Paris-Roubaix in the team with Sylvain Dillier. I expect him to be in the Tour as well, and I think we're going to have quite the job on our hands.
Now, looking ahead to the Dauphiné, it's kind of split into, we have the opening 4 stages with prologue, team time trial, 2 stages which could kind of end in a smaller sprint, maybe a breakaway, and then we have the proper crazy kind of, I was going to say weekend, but it's longer than that. So 130 kilometre stages with like 4,000 metres of climbing.
Unbelievable.
You looking forward to that?
Oh, afterwards I always like doing it. You know, the thing is, beforehand it's scary. You know, the time cut is going to be close. I know I'm going to be dropped, but the question is when. And the problem with these days is you never know what's going to happen. But the good thing is, afterwards, those are the days you remember. I mean, well, another flat bunch sprint stage in 2 years I won't remember. Maybe next year I'll have forgotten it. But one of those days, short, full gas climbing, full gas racing, those are the days that I never forget.
And riding for a French team, we're on French roads, so they clearly will want to do well, especially with Bardet.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure is up. You know, our season, the big goals of the team is, of course, Tour de France, and then like Dauphiné, Paris, next to each other, and then there's the classics. So as soon as we get on French roads and the parcours, the roads start going up, they start climbing, the guys, they start to feel the calves tingling.
And last season, you were very close to, well, we could call it a surprise win with Mont du Chat, which was a fairly insane day.
Yeah, that was a bit of a technical blooper on our part of the team. Yeah.
But so this, as I mentioned, the first couple of stages, it looks possible for breakaways, sprint stages. I mean, it looks difficult. And then the team time trial, for most people who are fans of Bardet, they will look at that and think that's the worry. You've got BMC, we've got Team Sky. It's 34 kilometres, I think. That's going to be a hard day, yeah?
It's for sure going to be a hard day. It's going to be a nervous day. I mean, these team time trials, so many things can happen. You can lose time, you can crash. I mean, for sure it's going to be a very stressful day, but I mean, this week I got a phone call from our sports director, and he was talking to me like, yeah, the TT, the team time trial, you guys do your best, but don't worry too much about it. Those days are going to be about the seconds, and in the weekend you're going to play with minutes. So
yeah, I mean, that, when I was looking at the stages, initially you think, well, that's going to define the race, but then when you see 4 mountaintop finishes, I think there's plenty of opportunities for the climbers to get time back, yeah?
Absolutely.
And Bardet starts as one of the favourites to win this race. I think the interesting thing this year, obviously, the Tour is 1 week later, so a lot of riders are coming in talking about not wanting to be too hot just now because it's going to be hard to maintain the form. What do you think?
Of course, if you're now at your best shape, this is what I've done. Dauphiné, Tour de France 2 years in a row. Now the 2 previous years, and the first year I was suffering full gas in Dauphiné, and in the Tour de France it felt more easy. But last year I was flying in Dauphiné, and the Tour de France, the climbs, they felt hard. So I also get the feeling it's one or the other. But for the leaders, I've seen everybody in altitude, and you don't go to altitude to just to do copyright. So I expect everybody to be on top shape. There's also always this yearly big battle for the Tour de France selections in Dauphiné in Switzerland. So you don't want to come here out of shape. You also don't want to come here at 100%. But the thing is, often with cyclists, they think they're at 95, but in reality, they're already at 100. We'll see. I don't think it's easy. Without bad luck, I don't think it's easy not to be in shape at this moment.
Yeah, and I think also it is the same for all the leaders, all the riders going for GC. They're in the same position because I think every single one is going to go and ride the Tour, apart from I think possibly Pello Bilbao, who comes out the Giro, who after riding that Giro to come to the Dauphiné, I don't think anybody would want to do that.
I don't think he chose it.
Definitely not.
I was also a bit surprised to see his name.
Yeah, so we'll see how far he lasts, but seeing as people were saying it was the hardest Giro for a number of years, yeah, it's going to be challenging for him. Did you watch much of the Giro yourself?
As much as possible. I was in California, and at the breakfast table, there was always somebody with an iPad or a cell phone where we watched the live stream. And when I got back home, of course, I watched the races. I missed one stage, and it's the one from Frumi. But that was a bit disappointing. But yeah, well, I tried to follow it as much as possible. It was pretty impressive race.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Oliver, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate you giving up your time this morning, and I hope it goes well for you this week. I hope Roman takes the yellow jersey, and then onwards to the Tour de France. But thank you, Oliver Naesen.
Thank you, David.